Today we have as our keynote speaker Paulinus Iwuji, is a Roman Catholic priest and belongs to the religious order of Sons of Mary, Mother of Mercy. He holds a bachelor's degree in philosophy, a bachelor of divinity from Pontifical Urban University, Rome, a bachelor of arts in religious studies from Imo State University in Nigeria, a master's of arts in international relations from St. Mary's University in San Antonio, Texas, a master's in science and healthcare administration from Grand Canyon University in Phoenix, and a doctorate degree in educational leadership from St. Mary's College here in California. Dr. Iwuji has over 16 years of experience of hospital ministry. Presently, he is a staff chaplain at the Veteran Administration Healthcare System in San Francisco, California. Prior to that, he worked for the University of New Mexico Hospital, Albuquerque, worked as a staff chaplain at Seton Healthcare Systems in Austin, Texas, and did a 4-year pastoral ministry in the Diocese of Fairbanks, Alaska. He is a board-certified chaplain of the National Association of Catholic Chaplains, as well as a board-certified by the National Association of Veterans Administrations for Chaplains. He is a member of the American Educational Research Association. He is a member of the National Association of Leadership and Success, and was inducted into the membership of Sigma Alpha Pi in 2012. He is the author of the book Beyond Africa's Democratic Experiments, An Odyssey Towards Inclusive and More Humanized World. He co-edited the book Mirrors of Justice, Critical Reflections on Justice and Mercy, Leadership and Membership, Catholic Identity and Formation. He has written several scholarly articles, published online and in newspapers. So please give Father Iwuji a warm welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Will, for the introduction. And I want to say that I'm delighted to be here in San Bernardino. And especially on this beautiful day God has given us. And I want to go straight to why we are here. And I also appreciate that you all are here today. Your Excellency, the Most Reverend Alberto Rojas, Bishop of San Bernardino, priests and religious, staff and members of San Bernardino Diocese, faculty and staff, Loma Linda University, sisters and brothers, I consider it an honor to be invited to give a keynote address at the 2024 Live Dignity and Justice Conference organized by the Diocese of San Bernardino here in San Bernardino Valley. Among others, the Diocese of San Bernardino is known for its commitment to the values of hospitality, collaboration, faith sharing, and reconciliation. I have been asked to speak on the topic, the beauty and relevance of diversity of cultures, traditions, languages to human progress and happiness, the interconnectivity of humanity. This topic is relevant and quite topical at this time in history as our society is becoming more and more diverse and seems to be in transition. Our society is becoming more diverse, not only in race, culture, language, and tradition, but also diverse in gender, sexual orientation, religious affiliations, politics, ideology, beliefs, language, values, demographics, and many different ways. All you need to do is to go to any gathering or raise any issue in any group and you will notice various representations or observe diverse viewpoints on the same issue. These differences and divergences can sometimes pose challenges in management and partnership and have the potential to hinder progress or even trigger dehumanization or demonization of the other and prevent respect of persons and cultures. On the other hand, there is beauty and harmony that is conveyed by diversity, which sometimes may not be easily perceived at face value. It may take some guts, some courage and intentionality to perceive the beauty embedded in cultures, in languages, and traditions. Diversity presents us with a mosaic of differences and perspectives and communicates some meanings and messages that transcend the immediate perception and thus presents us with the opportunity to learn, to understand, and cherish one another. Diversity of cultures, languages, and traditions speaks to us on a deeper human level and demands our attention to listen to other perspectives of our diverse socio-cultural and linguistic backgrounds. Diversity calls for exploring the narratives and sharing the stories of different cultures, traditions, and languages, a call that forms the overarching theme of this conference, exploring the narratives of peoples, building a culture of peace, justice, and respect for the dignity of the human person. Although we are different and unique in some ways, our uniqueness is a value and a reflection of the beauty of the human family, as well as an enrichment of humanity. Diversity is beautiful, and differences demand fair and respectful appreciation. Despite the differences, we are also interconnected in various ways because we belong to the same human family and share a lot of things in common. We share the same human nature, which is universal and transcends all cultures, races, languages, and traditions. Indeed, there is more that unites us than separates us. Diversity of cultures, languages, and traditions recognizes that all people have their uniqueness, their differences in thinking, in acting, in behaving, or being. We, as a larger humanity, do not really choose to be diverse. We simply are. History teaches us that left alone, diversity may exist, but inclusion may not. Diversity connotes the idea of differences in age, gender, race, ethnicity, religion, culture, language, socio-economic status, sexual orientation, and sexual identity. By its nature, diversity implies multifaceted and pluralism. In examining the significance of diversity leadership in institutions, David Owen made a distinction between two forms of diversity. First, diversity conveys the idea of sense of difference, which implies diversity as valuing of differences, or what he termed diversity of difference. And some authors call it structural diversity. That is, the number of people in each racial or ethnic category representations. The second form of diversity is diversity as a concern in making institutions equitable, inclusive, and achieving a sense of belonging. This second sense implies more than diversity of difference and goes deeper into the issue of respect for human dignity and social justice. Owen called this diversity for equity. Diversity for equity implies that the purpose and function of diversity leadership is to lead efforts to organizational change that specifically seek to eliminate or reorganize those structures that generate barriers and disadvantages for some, and privileges and advantages for others. It is in this second sense of diversity for equity that diversity is used in this paper and in what I'm going to talk today, because differences in terms of diversity for equity have existential and material consequences on the individual's life opportunities, because promoting a culture of justice and respect that is founded on human dignity is the only way to ensure genuine and lasting peace, progress, and happiness. So this paper will proceed with a definition of key terms. It explores the beauty of cultures and highlights the interconnectivity of humanity. It will offer some strategies to overcome the challenges of diversity, and then it will draw conclusion. Culture, language, and tradition intertwine because language and tradition are elements of culture. Language is the linguistic aspect of culture, while tradition is mainly the unwritten form of culture that is orally transmitted from generation to generation. And so rather than separating these three concepts of culture, language, and tradition, I will treat them within the broader concept of culture, since the beauty of culture reflects in the beauty of language and tradition. Culture is a concept that evokes feelings and a range of meanings among various people. Its Latin verbal etymology, for those who study Latin, the declension, the colo, colore, colui, and cultum, meaning to till ground, to soften the naturally rough ground in order to make it fruitful for planting crops. This understanding has been metaphorically transferred to the domain of the human mind and environment to designate the creation of suitable environment for the growth, maturity, and fruition of human life and development. Such environment promotes the quality of human life by expanding the opportunities of human life through creative freedom. Culture shapes or forms society by creating various infrastructures and superstructures for the enhancement of human life, bearing in mind that human environment is not only physical, but also moral and spiritual. As human beings' way of life, as they meet spiritual and physical needs, culture arises out of a people's effort to understand and come to terms with the environment, the social relations, and the ultimate questions of life. Culture designates the peculiar manner of behaving of a particular community or social group, its typical way of thinking and judging, of feeling and perceiving itself and others. Every group has its attitudes and its scale of values. In simple terms, culture denotes a people's collective psychology. Perhaps E.B. Taylor's definition could serve to illuminate some aspects of culture. He defined culture as the complex whole, which includes knowledge, beliefs, arts, morals, laws, customs, and any other capabilities and habits acquired by a human being as a member of the society. Culture is related to human progress. Progress connotes a step forward. What a person or a people understand to be their onward advancement, perfection, self-realization, or innate goals and objectives. Human progress implies moving forward in the attainment of the goals and objectives of human existence. Essentially, the enhancement of human life that recognizes the submission we owe to God. I want to repeat this. Human progress implies moving forward in the attainment of the goals and objectives of human existence. Essentially, the enhancement of human life that recognizes the submission we owe to God. This is Pacem in Terris of Pope John the 23rd, number 14. Happiness is a state of well-being which is conceptualized in terms of high levels of life satisfaction and self-worth reports, low depressive symptoms, sense of meaning and purpose in life, and self-acceptance. It includes the presence of positive mood and emotions, absence of negative emotions, life satisfaction, fulfillment, and positive functioning. Cultural diversity is beautiful, and our differences demand fair and respectful appreciation. Human beings are at the center of cultures. They develop within a culture. Human beings have the capacity to create culture as well as to be shaped by culture. This truth finds its eloquent expression in the words of the fathers of the Second Vatican Council. Thus, it is a fact that bearing on the very person of man, that he can come to an authentic and full humanity only through culture. That is, through the cultivation of natural goods and values. Wherever human life is involved, therefore, nature and culture are quite intimately connected. Gaudium et Spes, number 53. Throughout history, human beings have fashioned out of the forces and materials in nature things that could support them, cope with natural challenges, or transcend natural limitations to improve the quality of life. Culture can be understood both in terms of cultivation of personal qualities, such as intellectual, moral, and physical attainments, as well as creation of societal artificial environment in terms of infrastructures and symbols of civilization. In a tapestry of cultures, in a historical time or place, cultures are essentially evaluated high or low in relation to their enhancement of human life in a genuine way. In other words, cultures, languages, traditions, arts, symbols, civilizations, and various aspects of culture reveal their beauty so long as they enhance the quality of human life. This means that what makes for cultural development or progress, or what retards culture, is based on moral evaluation that is beyond scientific orientation. According to Arusi Onwande, this moral evaluation is a rational principle which stipulates that whatever promotes the spiritual and moral values of mankind should be preferred and pursued, and whatever stifles his interior and spiritual growth should be avoided. In other words, culture is not just material and physical. It is essentially the concern of the mind, of self-consciousness, of the human spirit, which is the realm of the transcendent. Culture has both physical, both visible and invisible elements. Visible elements of culture include things such as food, habits, dress, dwellings, and dances. But the most important element in a culture is the invisible, the underlying system of values, meanings, and worldviews. Invisible elements in a culture find expressions in symbols, in rituals, in arts, literature, in philosophy, in oral culture, such as proverbs, riddles, songs, stories, folklores, myths, legends, poems, etc. In many cultures, objects and symbols carry deep and profound ideas and meanings that are too complex to be explained or put into words or theological responses. If we communicate our openness, show respect and willingness to listen, people who come from those cultural backgrounds may be eager to share the meanings of those invisible elements. How about symbolic acts like lighting candles? I've seen so many places, families who have our soldiers in a harm's way, they light candles for them. Those candles have deeper meanings that can really be put into words. How about touching their foreheads? I've seen people, sometimes they place their hands like this, or when they do the sign of cross, they do something like this. Those are symbols that really have deeper meanings. Daily repetition of live affirmations, uttering of blessings before and after meal that all of us will do, or let me assume all of us do when we are eating, or burning of incense. These are symbolic gestures that really have deeper meaning. Another aspect is culture as a salient language, which is the unconscious and unspoken elements that can only be perceived through inference or an in-depth analysis of cultural symbols and latent meanings behind certain behaviors and cultural expressions. These include traditions, attitudes, and values as principles shape our worldview and considered important and desirable and recommended by the collective judgment. The values of a culture guide desires, shape behavior and attitude, and influence judgments. Different groups have their own diverse cultures, beliefs, customs, and traditions. These differences reflect the beauty of diversity and add to the beauty and value of human family. The Second Vatican Council re-echoes St. Augustine's teaching and expressed the beauty and values of cultural diversity as elements of truth and grace, which are found among people and which are, as it were, the secret presence of God. So whatever goodness is found in the minds and hearts of men and women, or in the particular customs and cultures of peoples, far from being lost, is purified, raised to a higher level, and reaches its perfection for the glory of God and the happiness of mankind. This is found in the decree on the church's missionary activity, Ad Gentes Divinitas, number 9, and also see it in Lumen Gentium, number 17, and in St. Augustine's work, De Civitate Dei, 19. The church, as a living reality, not only creates and uses symbols, the symbols of Christianity, but also recognizes the symbols of a culture, because symbols add meaning and value to human representations to reflect the intentions of the users. This truth is consistent with the declaration of the Fathers of the Second Vatican Council, which states, in his self-revelation to his people, culminating in the fullness of manifestation in his incarnate Son, God spoke according to the culture proper to each age. Similarly, the church has existed through the centuries in various circumstances and has utilized the resources of different cultures in its preaching to spread and explain the message of Christ, to examine and understand it more deeply, and to express it more perfectly in the liturgy and in its various aspects of the life of the faithful. The good news of Christ continually renews the life and culture of fallen man. It never ceases to purify and elevate the morality of peoples. It takes the spiritual qualities and endowments of every age and nation, and with supernatural riches, it causes them to blossom, as it were, from within. It fortifies, completes, and restores them in Christ. Pastoral Constitution on the Church in the Modern World, Guiding Express number 58. Goodness and beauty is not an exclusive prerogative of any particular culture or tradition or race or nation, or to any one particular way of life, or to any particular customary practices. Goodness and beauty can be found in every culture, in every race, in every language and custom. Cultural diversity presents us with a mosaic of differences and with opportunity to listen, to hear the voice of God who speaks to us through cultures and traditions, and to hopefully learn and understand some profound truth and appreciate God's gift to humanity. Diversity of cultures and traditions adds to the enrichment of the society and to the harmonious development of the whole person. By appreciating different cultures, we appreciate God and the creative spring of humanity, as well as cherish and give respect to one another. Essentially, the creativity of humankind bears the imprint of divine image. Human beings resemble God, the Creator, in the activity and products they make. It is important to note that sometimes the dominant cultural values may not always coincide with the moral values. They may fail to promote justice and to give respect for the dignity of the human person. In this context, it is appropriate then to talk of evangelization of cultures, which aims at mentalities, collective attitudes, ways of life that affect society in its culture. The evangelization of cultures requires that through the power of the gospel, we affect, as it were, upset humankind's criteria of judgment, of determining values and models of life, insofar as they are contrary to the Word of God, revealed in Jesus Christ and the plan of salvation. This is seen in Pope Paul VI, Evangelii Nunciandi, Numbers 18 to 20. It means then that whatever good is found sown in the minds and hearts of men and women, or in the rights and customs of peoples, is to be preserved, purified, and perfected for the glory of God and the happiness of mankind. It can be affirmed that cultural development that is in harmony with mankind's happiness is the quantitative and qualitative increase in the scope of the qualities, conditions, and achievements which make for the enhancement of human life, considered from the reference point of human transcendence. For the authentic being of man is eminently spiritual and transcendent. During his historic pastoral visit to Nigeria in 1982, Pope John Paul II addressed the bishops in this way: the church truly respects the culture of each people. In offering the gospel message, the church does not intend to destroy or to abolish what is good and beautiful. In fact, she recognizes many cultural values and through the power of the gospel purifies and takes into Christian worship certain elements of a people's customs. This is seen in L'Osservatore Romano, Special Cultures, and a special edition in English of March to April 1982, page 22. John Paul's message reflects the beauty of cultures, as well as an acknowledgement that there is something good and valuable in every culture, in every tradition and nation, and in every human being. All this points to the interconnectivity of humanity. Interconnectivity of humanity evokes the notion of relationship, a unifying trend, a sense of commonality in nature and purpose, unity in diversity. It means recognizing that human nature is the same and transcends race, language, creed, nationality, culture, and traditions. It is also a recognition that human beings are at the center of cultures and traditions. And so, culture is not an atrophied tissue lying out there. Human beings create culture. They are also a product of culture. It is human beings that give meaning to cultures, and cultures bear the imprint of human beings. This means that the beauty of cultures is a reflection of the beauty of the human beings who are made in the image and likeness of God. In other words, celebration of cultures implies celebration of the people, since people make cultures. Recognizing the beauty of culture means recognizing the beauty of the people and celebrating the people. Acknowledging the beauty of cultures is an invitation to celebrate each other, to recognize the good in each other. It is an invitation to recognize how beautiful each one of us sitting here, listening, how beautiful each one of us is. This beauty that is in us does not flow from our aesthetic elegance, or from our heights, or size, or from our wealth, or power, or from our strength or intelligence, or from our race, or gender, or nationality. The source of this beauty, rather, is the fact that we are human persons, created in the image and likeness of God, redeemed by the blood of Jesus Christ, and endowed with dignity. Pacem in Terris, Numbers 9 to 10. The image of God in us transcends the barriers or the accidents of history. Skin color, gender, size, language, economic prosperity, nationality, etc. The image of God in us establishes a relationship and connection among all persons into one family, the human family. This imago Dei in us establishes a sacred bond among humanity, a bond of brotherhood and sisterhood, which not even race, geography, continent, immigration status, nationality, or political affiliation can break. This bond is the bond of human family, the interconnectivity of humanity, which begins with the basic truth that all human beings are created in the image and likeness of God, and are by grace the children of, and friends of God, and heirs of eternal glory. Pacem in Terris, number 10. Relationship of equality among all human creatures stems from the fact that human beings are persons who are created in this image and likeness of God, and are endowed with rationality and free will. It is this truth, and in this sense, that the 6th century scholar Boetius defined the human person as an individual substance of a rational nature. The way he puts it, persona est substantia individua rationalis natura. An individual substance of a rational nature, which St. Thomas Aquinas accepted and consistently defended. This basic truth, again, finds its eloquent expression in the encyclical letter of Pope John XXIII, which says, any human society, if it is to be well ordered and productive, must lay down as a foundation this principle, namely, that all human beings our presence, that is, their nature, is endowed with intelligence and freedom. Indeed, precisely because they are persons, they have rights and obligations flowing directly and simultaneously from their nature. Number 9, sisters and brothers, the bond of unity and what we share in common is stronger than our differences and the things that try to separate us. This bond of unity is at the ontological level. It is in our nature. It is at the foundation of who we are as human beings. The differences and things that sometimes try to separate us, such as skin color, gender, nationality, language, political affiliations, wealth, size, power, etc. They are all accidents of history. None of them defines our very nature. None of them goes to the core of our existence. Instead, each of them is defined by something else. None of them gives meaning to itself. Each of them exists for the sake of something higher than itself. That thing higher is the human family. Each of them, namely culture, traditions, race, gender, nationality, language, political affiliation, wealth, size, power, etc., is there to serve humanity and to add to the beauty to the human family. In his encyclical letter, Veritatis Splendor, Pope John Paul II reminds us that human nature transcends cultures. And this nature is itself the measure of culture and the condition ensuring that human beings do not become the prisoner of any of the cultures they made. Rather, they assert their personal dignity by living in accordance with the profound truth of their nature. Veritatis Splendor, number 53. Cultural diversity implies that we celebrate one another, recognize and celebrate the good and beauty in each one of us. It is an invitation to listen and appreciate one another, even though the person might look different from us or come from another cultural background. We cannot overcome the challenges of diversity unless we create an inclusive culture which begins by listening to one another. Diversity needs listening ear. The renowned theologian Tillich made a famous statement when he said, "The first duty of love is to listen." That's the first duty of love. Someone you love and care for, you listen to the person. By listening, we become what some authors identified as system leaders. Through active, deep listening, we become like system leaders who have various perspectives of issues and are committed to the whole. The differences among us have some stories to tell and meanings to communicate. They demand our listening attention. We must give our ears. System leaders build relationships through deep listening, from which flow networks of trust and collaboration. Through the strength of their ignorance, shown in listening, they remain open and they are not afraid to ask questions and explore new learning areas and grow. By acknowledging their ignorance, but remaining actively open and exploratory, system leaders gain better understanding that may transform situations of inertia and polarization, reframe intractable problems as opportunities for innovation, and strike a balance between short-term reactive problems and long-term issues. Dialogue and inviting colleagues' viewpoints regarding a complex problem will enable organizations and individuals to question or revise their assumptions and uncritical beliefs. Shared reflections gained by listening could help individuals and organizations to hear different viewpoints, which act like a mirror to one's own ideas and perspectives. Hearing and appreciating other viewpoints will help to build trust and collective innovation. Diversity needs validation. Validation is an enabling, supportive, and confirming process involving leadership, counselors, supervisors, and administrators actively reaching out to employees and designing activities that promote active engagement and positive functioning and interpersonal growth among employees, leadership, and supervisors. Validation helps to instill and nurture self-efficacy, and in doing so, expands the individual's sense of inclusion and belonging. Validation is a strategy that can fight narrow-mindedness, self-exclusion, complacency, and low expectation, which are negative mindsets that work against the promotion of human dignity and happiness. Diversity needs interdependence and partnership. Interdependence and partnerships are related to who we are and how we share. Interdependence is mutual dependence between things. That is, the idea of interdependence is that we can meet each other's needs in a variety of ways, that we can truly lean on others, and they can lean on us. It means we have to decentralize our ideas of where solutions and decisions happen, where ideas come from. Interdependence creates a system of strength, and from it emerges resilience and the depth of relationships between the individuals in a system determines the strength of the system. In partnership, resources are combined. Distribution of duties is maximized. Best practices are shared, and a highly sustainable and responsive network is established. Diversity needs micro-affirmation. In 1973, while working for the president and chancellor of Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Mary Rowe coined the term micro-affirmations, which she defined as subtle or apparently small acts, which are often ephemeral, and hard to see events that are public and private, often unconscious but very effective, which occur whenever people wish to help others succeed. Whenever people wish to help others succeed. And drawing from her own leadership experience as an executive at an international engineering firm, Melinda Brianna Epler defined micro-affirmations as little ways you can affirm someone's identity, recognize and validate their experience and expertise, build confidence, develop trust, foster belonging, and support someone in their career. Micro-affirmations foster inclusion, listening, comfort, and support for people who may feel unwelcome or invisible in a group or workplace. And Amy Hansen offers a few micro-affirmation tools. These are some of the tools Amy Hansen offered. Give your undivided presence when others are speaking or presenting. Be an active listener. Use reinforcing body language, eye contact, nods, facial expressions, tone of voice. Invite individuals from marginalized communities to the table to be part of the conversation. Give them opportunity to be heard. Echo good ideas. Publicly acknowledge the accomplishment and expertise of mainly people who come from marginalized groups. Mirror the language that people use to describe their identity. Create openings for underrepresented voices in the room to be heard. Give opportunities for visibilities. And acknowledge important moments. Provide honest feedback, etc. And also, as we talk of what we do to promote diversity, we also talk of what we have to avoid. And one of the things we need to avoid is avoid micro inequities. Again, Mary Rowe, who coined the idea of micro affirmation, also coined the notion of micro inequities in 1973, which defined as apparently small events, which are often ephemeral and hard to prove events, which are covert, often unintentional, frequently unrecognized by the perpetrator, which occur whenever people are perceived to be different. Micro inequities are subtle, often unconscious messages that devalue, discourage, and impair workplace performance. Micro inequities are behavior, such as comments, an action, a gesture, a use of specific words, or even a tone of voice that may lead to feeling of unwelcome, of being unsupported, devalued, marginalized, and invisible in their own workplace. And she offered some of the examples of the micro inequities that she's talking about here. And another thing we need to avoid also is avoid stereotypes, prejudices, and discrimination. Stereotypes are generalized beliefs that create disrespectful attitudes about a group and may lead to prejudice and discrimination. Stereotypes are often framed as true features of a particular group, but they are imbued with negative evaluative content. Stereotype is a form of devaluation. The idea that the stereotyped individual or group is of less value, is less, and should be treated as lower class. When a group is stereotyped, there's a tendency to treat them as subhuman and with no sense of human dignity and respect as human persons. Devaluation contains the seed of dehumanization and worthlessness. Stereotypes diminish self-worth and instill the feeling of not being valued, of not being appreciated, and of being treated as nobody. Devaluation is related to the idea of stigmatization. Stigmatization is the experience of bearing spoiled identity. That is, some characteristics that in the eyes of the society cause one to be broadly devalued. Devaluation, stigmatization, and stereotypes are a source of stress and anxiety because feelings that one's group is devalued by the dominant group, as well as lack of equal treatment, will always trigger worry and humiliation that can grip the members of the stereotype group with a sense of fear and uncertainty and may put psychological pressure on them. Stereotypes lead to prejudice. Prejudice is a preconceived judgment or opinion, usually based on limited information. Behavioral effects of prejudice are expressed in discrimination, which is often harmful in nature and perpetuated in the lives of denial of rightful opportunities or cohesive and violent reactionary measures. An environment that supports micro inequities, stereotypes, prejudice, and discrimination cannot promote a culture of human progress and happiness because such environment fails to accord respect to the dignity of the human person, which is the foundation of progress and happiness. In conclusion, diversity presents us with a mosaic of differences and with opportunity to learn, to understand and appreciate one another. Human beings are at the center of cultures since they make culture and are also shaped by culture. Cultures are morally evaluated in relation to how they improve the quality of human life and conditions. Structural diversity is important, but not enough. Gender diversity is incomplete and cannot be achieved without embracing a supportive and collaborative environment that assures inclusion, as well as removing structures that generate barriers to fair treatment and access that assure equity. When diversity is combined with inclusion and equity, together they offer a sense of belonging to all, in terms of one feeling psychologically connected and of being a part of a community. In other words, it is not just whether an institution is diverse. More importantly, do institutions and organizations embrace inclusive and equitable structures through justice and respect for the human persons and their cultures to ensure that people feel welcome. Feeling welcome in a place or group means or implies being treated with respect and feeling a sense of belonging to the group. That is, feeling a part or a member of an organization. Human beings are persons who are created in the image and likeness of God, redeemed by the blood of Jesus Christ, and endowed with dignity. The image of God in them transcends the barriers of grace, of race, and territorial geography, gender and social class, and other accidents of history, and establishes a bond of connectivity, of brotherhood and sisterhood into one family, the human family. Rather than being entrenched in stereotypes, in prejudice, in discrimination, in micro inequities, the beauty of diversity of cultures demands respect and the listening ear, calls for micro affirmations validation and requires interdependence and partnership among individuals and all parties and departments in order to achieve human progress and happiness. Before I leave, I want to offer you these thoughts from Kofi Annan, the former Secretary General, that says we may have different religions, different languages, different cultures, but we are all one human race. That concludes my presentation.